Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring a topic that, well, it really influences every aspect of our lives, often in ways we maybe don't fully realize. We're talking about the world of mistakes and regrets. Now, most of us, I think, instinctively shy away from these experiences, right? We see them as failures or things to be avoided at all costs.
Absolutely. It's a natural human tendency.
But what if?
Yeah.
What if the insights from our source material actually reveal a completely different picture? Our mission for this deep dive is to sort of extract these surprising nuggets of wisdom from these, let's face it, universally shared, often uncomfortable experiences.
Right.
We're going to examine how they can be, well, genuinely powerful tools for growth and learning. We've been poring over some fantastic research, some really compelling real-world anecdotes, too.
Yes, some great stories in there.
And I'm genuinely excited to share how they challenge our conventional thinking.
Yeah.
So as we begin, maybe just consider, how do you typically respond to your own missteps? Are they just roadblocks, or could there be a deeper value maybe waiting to be uncovered?
And that's precisely the pivot we need to make, isn't it? I mean, in an era where you're constantly trying to process vast amounts of information.
Constantly.
Yeah, whether it's prepping for a critical meeting, trying to stay current in your field, or, simply expanding your personal knowledge, the ability to not just absorb, but truly integrate and apply new insights is, well, it's paramount. And this is where mistakes and regrets, when you approach them with a specific mindset, they stop being just like negative data points. They actually become accelerators for genuine, deeply embedded understanding. They offer a kind of shortcut to wisdom that, passive learning or just reading a summary often can't replicate. Think of it this way. A textbook can explain a concept, sure, but it's often through the intense emotional charge and the direct consequence of a slip-up that our brains really forge those neural pathways.
Right.
It embeds the lessons far more viscerally, more permanently. It's a form of situated learning, you could call it, where the context and the stakes make the knowledge really sticky.
Sticky knowledge, I like that phrasing.
Yeah. So our deep dive today isn't just about acknowledging mistakes exist, but really about dissecting why these experiences are absolutely essential for making informed decisions and for fostering continuous improvement, moving you beyond simply knowing to, truly understanding.
That emphasis on the experiential side, the sticky learning, that really shifts the perspective. This whole idea of mistakes as opportunities, it almost feels counterintuitive, doesn't it, compared to how we're often conditioned?
It really does.
So what core insight from our sources helps us reframe that immediate sort of negative gut reaction we have when we make an error? Because the sources seem to suggest the key isn't if you make a mistake, but how you perceive it, how you process it afterwards.
Exactly.
Which I suppose leads us to explore how these experiences aren't all the same. They vary, right? In scale and what kind of feedback they offer. Are all mistakes equally valuable then?
Well, maybe not equally valuable in terms of impact, but our sources suggest that all mistakes do offer feedback. They present this helpful categorization, kind of moving from what we might call low-stakes errors to high-stakes ones.
Yep.
So take something like a typo in an email, or maybe forgetting to reply to a message. These are, minor blips, usually easily corrected, often just mildly annoying.
Right, you kick yourself for a second.
Exactly. But even these small mistakes can provide immediate sharp feedback, like, oops, need to proofread better, or, maybe I need a better system for tracking messages.
And sometimes that immediate feedback comes with a bit more of a jolt, doesn't it? Our sources had this perfect illustration with Mia, one of the hosts from Real Easy English. She talked about leaving her suitcase on a train.
Oh, I remember that one. Yes.
Yeah, picture it. She's traveling, the station's packed, noisy football fans everywhere, and in the rush to get off, the luggage just slips her mind. Gone.
That sinking feeling.
Totally. Half an hour later, the realization hits her. The stress, the panic.
Yeah.
You can almost feel it just listening to her story.
Precisely. And while she did fortunately get it back,
Which is amazing.
it is, but that visceral gut punch feeling of distress, followed by the frantic effort and then that immense relief that burned a lesson into her. It wasn't just being told, hey, double check your bags.
No.
It was the experience itself that imprinted the importance of vigilance. This is a perfect example of that situated learning we mentioned. The emotional stakes of the error make the learning incredibly robust. You're much less likely to forget it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It acts as an immediate personal danger signal for similar situations in the future. It highlights an attention gap far more effectively than any, abstract advice ever could.
It really shows how powerful even those seemingly small, stressful moments can be as teachers. But okay, what happens when the stakes are higher? when the consequences aren't so easily reversed. Our sources also dive into what they termed bigger mistakes, those more significant decisions with much higher potential impact and potentially long-lasting consequences.
Right.
We've probably all made one of those decisions that, in retrospect, you just wish you could rewind and change.
Yes, and this is where that concept of the feedback loop becomes even more complex, more intricate. Our sources shared another really compelling anecdote, this time from Alex, the other host.
Right.
He made a big professional decision. He loved his teaching job in a foreign city, but he felt compelled for various reasons to move elsewhere, so he resigned.
Okay.
A week later, the full weight of that decision settled in, and he realized, deep down, he genuinely didn't want to leave. He'd made a mistake. And this could easily have been a career-defining regret, you know?
Oh, absolutely. That moment of, what have I done? And here's where his story offers a particularly insightful kind of counter-narrative to our usual assumptions about mistakes.
Yes.
He went back to his boss, hoping maybe he could reverse course, but nope. The job had already been offered to someone else.
The door seemed closed.
Exactly. That's the kind of scenario that often leads to really deep regret, that feeling of having missed a crucial, irreversible opportunity. But then, in this completely unexpected twist, the new teacher decided they didn't want the job either.
Incredible turn of events.
Right. So Alex actually got his position back.
And this situation, it just beautifully highlights how mistakes don't always follow a predictable negative path. It teaches us that the consequences of our actions aren't always linear or even entirely within our control sometimes.
That's a great point.
It wasn't just luck, though luck played a part. It was also the result of a kind of forced pivot. It compelled him to reevaluate his assumptions, maybe consider pathways he might not have otherwise. This kind of experience, it cultivates resilience, adaptive thinking. It essentially turns a setback into a forced moment of innovation, almost. It encourages critical thinking about the long-term arc of events rather than just focusing on the immediate fallout. It underscores that sometimes what looks like a monumental error can actually become a fortunate detour.
That's a really important shift in perspective. It definitely challenges that common narrative that mistakes always lead to bad endings. Sometimes they just reroute you, maybe down a different path that turns out to be equally or perhaps even more rewarding in the long run.
Precisely.
But let's distinguish this from something that often comes along with mistakes, especially the bigger ones. Regret. Mia, from our sources, she wisely said something like, "I try not to regret too much. I think mistakes are for learning."
Good quote.
Yet Alex admitted to a specific regret, quitting piano lessons when he was a child.
Yes, the piano lessons. This distinction is really crucial for our learning journey, I think. While a mistake is fundamentally an action or inaction that's wrong or unintended, regret is the emotional response to that action, or sometimes crucially to inaction. It's that lingering what if. It's feeling bad or sorry about something done, or perhaps something not done.
Right, the opportunity missed.
Exactly. Regret speaks to what we truly value by highlighting where a past choice diverges from our present aspirations. Alex's regret about the piano isn't really about an error in that moment as a kid, but a long-ago decision he now views as a missed opportunity, especially given his current love for music. It shows the long-term emotional landscape of regret. However, the power of regret, when it's channeled properly, is immense. Our sources suggest distinguishing between, let's call it, productive regret and ruminative regret.
Okay, productive versus ruminative.
Yeah. Ruminative regret can paralyze you, right? It just keeps you stuck, fixated on the past, beating yourself up. Productive regret, on the other hand, acts more like a compass.
A compass, how so?
Well, it informs your future choices. It helps you prioritize what you truly value now, something that maybe was overlooked in that past decision. The common expression, "learn from your mistakes," is precisely about this. It means internalizing the experience, both the action itself and the feeling of regret, so that you remember it and actively try not to repeat it or to make choices more aligned with those values next time. It's about self-correction at a fundamental level, turning that past discomfort into future wisdom by revealing our deepest, often hidden values.
So whether it's a minor slip-up, like, I don't know, spilling coffee on your notes just before a meeting, which is just annoying, right?
Been there.
Or a bigger one, like maybe arguing heatedly with a friend and potentially damaging a relationship. Each of these situations, as our sources really highlight, serves as a teacher.
Yeah.
They're not just negative events. They are, in essence, incredibly valuable feedback.
That's the word, feedback.
That's such a powerful reframe, isn't it? To see an error not as a personal flaw, but as information, just data coming in.
It fundamentally changes your relationship with perceived failure. If you view mistakes as feedback, you're essentially gathering data about how the world works, how your actions impact outcomes, and maybe where your understanding or your execution might be lacking.
Right, like testing a hypothesis.
Exactly. This proactive mindset transforms a moment of, oh no, I failed, into a moment of data collection and analysis. You can think of these not just as simple feedback loops, but often as negative feedback loops. They're mechanisms that actively push us away from repeating suboptimal behaviors. They drive an iterative improvement process, much like you see in engineering or system design. It's essential for anyone who wants to quickly and thoroughly understand a field or improve a skill because it allows for rapid iteration and adaptation. You move from simply reacting to situations to intelligently responding and evolving based on that feedback.
And sometimes, as we saw with Mia getting her suitcase back or Alex getting his job back, this feedback loop can indeed have truly unexpected, almost positive benefits. These lucky breaks, as we might call them. They aren't always just random, are they? They can be a testament to resilience, to that adaptive thinking you mentioned. When faced with a setback, the ability to pivot, reevaluate, maybe creatively problem solve, that can turn a perceived failure into a launching pad for something else, maybe something even better.
Or sometimes just less dramatically.
Yeah.
As our sources suggest, these moments can simply become genuinely funny stories later on.
Oh, definitely. That gut punch moment transforming into a hilarious anecdote you tell at a dinner party years down the line.
Absolutely. It's all about cultivating that perspective over time, isn't it?
It really is.
And this perspective leads us to a crucial, really practical strategy for you listening, one that our sources really emphasize. When you make a mistake, try not to just brush it off or conversely wallow in it indefinitely.
Avoid those extremes.
Exactly. Instead, pause. Take a moment to truly think about what happened, and then ask yourself a simple but really profound question. What can I learn from this?
What can I learn from this?
Yeah.
Simple but powerful.
It is. That act of mindful reflection is where the true value lies. It's the bridge between just having an incident happen to you and actively extracting wisdom from it. It moves you from merely experiencing to actively learning.
I really appreciate that practical, proactive approach. And it seems to go even further. Our sources also suggest that sharing your mistakes can be incredibly beneficial, not just for you, but for others too.
Oh, absolutely. There's huge power in sharing.
How so?
Well, sharing personal missteps, especially in a team or community setting, it fosters psychological safety. It normalizes imperfection, right? It reduces that fear of failure that can stifle innovation and honesty.
Makes sense. People feel safer trying things.
Precisely. And it allows for a collective acceleration of learning. One person's misstep, when shared openly, becomes a potential shortcut for many others. Your story, your slip-up, the lesson you learned it, could genuinely prevent someone else from making the same error, or maybe just give them the courage to navigate their own inevitable missteps more effectively. It turns individual fumbles into shared wisdom.
Turning fumbles into wisdom. I like that.
So if we were to synthesize the core insights from our deep dive today, it's really clear that mistakes and regrets aren't aberrations. They're not bugs in the system. They are an utterly normal and, in fact, crucial part of life and learning. The overarching message seems to be, don't fear mistakes. Instead, try to embrace them as these unparalleled opportunities for growth.
Okay.
Reflect on them, understand the unique feedback they provide, and always commit to learning from them. This positive, proactive approach connects directly back to our initial idea of gaining knowledge quickly and thoroughly. By adopting this mindset, you're not just accumulating facts, you're actively transforming raw experience into actionable wisdom. And that's a really powerful tool for navigating, well, our increasingly complex and information-rich world.
That's an excellent distillation. Thank you. So let's quickly recap some of the essential takeaways for you today, based on everything we've discussed. First, remember mistakes span a whole spectrum. From those small ones, like a typo or spilling coffee on your notes, maybe forgetting to reply to a message.
The everyday stuff.
Right, all the way to bigger ones like leaving a job you loved, maybe arguing badly with a friend or missing out on an important opportunity. And the crucial understanding here, the big reframe, is that mistakes aren't simply bad. They are, in fact, powerful feedback. Think of them as invaluable data for your own personal operating system.
Data points.
And then there's regret, that distinct emotional response, feeling bad or sorry about something done or maybe not done, like Alex in the piano lessons.
Right.
But remember, when channeled productively, regret reveals your deepest values and can help chart a better future course. The central powerful expression we kept coming back to is to learn from your mistakes, which basically means internalizing what went wrong and actively trying not to repeat it or to do better next time.
The core action.
Exactly. And our practical tip for you, when you inevitably make a mistake, just pause, think, and ask yourself that key question: what can I learn from this? Because here's the unexpected benefit we talked about. Sometimes mistakes lead to these incredible, fortunate detours, these lucky breaks. Or, less dramatically, they just become fantastic, funny stories you'll share for years.
The dinner party anecdotes.
Precisely. And finally, don't forget that sharing your mistakes, being open about them, can actually help others learn from your journey, fostering a kind of collective wisdom.
That's right. Ultimately, mistakes and regrets, they aren't signs of weakness or failure at all. They are vital signposts on your path to personal and professional growth. They help us improve ourselves, refine our understanding, and make, hopefully, demonstrably better choices in the future. The ability to embrace and learn from these experiences, rather than constantly shying away from them or beating yourself up over them, that is a truly critical skill for any learner, for anyone navigating the complexities of modern life and really seeking to process experience into wisdom.
So, as you move forward, maybe armed with this slightly different, hopefully empowering perspective, I want to leave you with a thought, maybe a little challenge. What is one mistake you've made in the past that perhaps you can now look back on and truly appreciate for the profound lesson it taught you?
Good question.
And maybe, just maybe, who might you share that story with to potentially help them on their own incredible learning journey? Thank you for diving deep with us today.